people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV. Lots of cool people. Tune in. Keep it locked.
I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people of this country and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you...
So what's going on, people? I mean, welcome to the Patriots Prayer Podcast, and what a crazy day, bro. I was sitting there. We were online. We're doing something. I forget where we were. We were in alive, and
Right.
News pops up. Here's this guy strolling up to Ilhan Omar, and he sprays her in the face. And at first, you take it at face value because what can you do? I mean, you just seen it happen. So
Right.
what can you do? Right? You have to take it at face value at first, but upon further inspection, well, I'll tell you that. Picture this. You know, it's a Tuesday night in Minneapolis, right? Ilhan Omar's up there in the town hall, ripping in the ice, calling to abolish it like it's the devil itself. And, you know, the crowd's all fired up. Tensions are high after all the ice drama in the city. And then bam, some dude charges the stage, syringe in hand, sprays her with some type of mystery liquid right in the face. Security tackles him as quickly as possible, cuffs him, drags him out. Third-degree assault. Feds probably piling up charges. It sounds serious, right? But then she just wipes her face off with a napkin, says a few choice words, actually tries to run at the guy, and keeps talking. No freak out. No, get me to a doctor. No, oh my God, what was that in that syringe? Just straight back to the podium like it's a Tuesday trivia night. And the stuff supposedly smelled like vinegar or something, very pungent, but she's cool as ice. Minnesota strong. She tweets later, survival mode activated. Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's now like, hold on a second, fellas. Let's call it like we see it, man to man. And here's the whole thing. Here's the entire thing. The whole thing reeks. It reeks. And not just of whatever was in the syringe, you know, reeking. But remember Jussie Smollett back in 2019, the guy claimed that a MACA hat wearing racists jumped him in Chicago about 2 a.m., poured bleach on him, loop a noose around his neck and yell slurs at him. All the while he's carrying Subway sandwiches in 0-degree weather. Turns out that it was just two brothers hired for the gig. They gave him a check, set up this whole fake thing so he could be a victim. Fast forward now, Ilhan Omar looks terrible in the press, terrible across the world, tied to all types of what would be money laundering through her winery, fraud through her state, same energy. She's been under fire. I mean, just nonstop over the last few months. Financial questions are swirling her district. With the whole immigration hardball now, it's like this new admin's in there. Trump's been naming names, timing everything perfect for this sympathy play, and this happens. That's exactly what this is. 1 minute she's railing against border enforcement, the next minute she's a brave survivor that won't let bullies win. Do you not see what's happening here? This was, you know, welcome to the Truman Show. You're Truman.
Right.
I mean, give her an Oscar, except for she did it wrong. She did it wrong. If she would have got sprayed in the face and would have been like, oh my God, what was that? And went in the ambulance, it would have probably played out a lot better for her. But trying to charge a guy that was 3 times her size, the cameras were trained on this guy before he got up for the attack. Now, how often do news cameras pan to one specific guy in the crowd, just some random guy who looked like he was had a at least 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drinks.
Looked like he was fresh off a bar stool.
Row, closest possible seat you could be to her. The cameras train on him, and then next thing you know, he's running. It's like WWE wrestling.
Right.
Who believes this bullshit?
No, not even a little bit. It looks completely set up to me. It doesn't at all look genuine, nor, like you said, she wasn't the slightest bit concerned. She doesn't know what was in that syringe. She has no clue what was sprayed on her, and she just keeps going. I don't buy it.
I'm not at all going to buy this. And let me see here. I'm going to go see if I can find the footage. Right. So here it is. Let me play this for everybody so you can see it and you'll understand a little better. Like this was not random that the news cameras happened to just pan to this guy, and he happens right after they pan to him. He happens to be the guy that jumps up and to go do this. Right. Here it is. Here it is right here. So you can see he's sitting there in the front row, closest possible seat that he can have to her.
And round of applause for Congresswoman Omar's staff who's here.
He's definitely drunk.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hennepin.
Right. Cameras pan to her. Go out. Let's go find the actual video. Now, this is what happens only a few seconds later. Right. So let's go up. Sure, someone has it here. As you can see, I'm going to slow the video down. Let's slow the video down to about a quarter speed. Play it. Let me mute it so I don't hear her. She sounds more like a lamb now than she did in the South Park cartoon. Right now, you're going to see him. There it is. There it is. It's a syringe. It's a pretty good sized syringe too. Did you see how big it was?
Yeah.
Look at the syringe.
Well, look how close he was.
I mean, he had all that distance and he didn't run.
No.
All that distance, and she happens to not even move or like, what are you doing? Or hey, or security or anything. And then, I mean, the syringe was a pretty big syringe. I'm just saying, again, bro, I would be a little worried.
At the edge of the podium.
If this were real and that were me, I would be concerned. It was only a few years ago when they were sending anthrax through the mail to people.
Right.
There are people out here doing all sorts of things. And boom, look at that. Stumbling. He can't even freaking walk. So you mean to tell me this guy let's do that again. Right. Watch how he bobbles. Watch how he bobbles as he's walking up to her. I'll half speed it. You can see when he gets up, stumbling like he can't even walk. Yeah. Now, anyone who's ever been to a rally, political gathering of any kind, you go through the front door, security's checking you. Security's going to wand you. You're going to walk through a metal detector. You're and obviously if you're stone cold drunk, which I believe this guy was, or at least he played the part
very well.
You know, this is all a show.
Yeah.
This is all a show. She wants the sympathy vote. She wants people to feel sorry for poor little me. Look how the white guy come up and sprayed me in the face with a syringe, but it's okay. Now, her base,
an unknown substance, and I don't seem to be concerned.
No concern whatsoever. Matter of fact, if we go find the other footage, which is, I believe, up here,
Secretary Kristi Noem must.
She tries to run after him. She tries to like go after him. He's 3 times her size.
I don't know.
Look, you see that? What? He runs at him. Come on, bro. I know people are not this stupid.
Yeah. I don't know.
At least I hope people aren't this stupid.
We'll see how it plays out tomorrow.
It just blows my mind to think that you have all this stuff going on in the press. They're in the news every damn day. It came out today that she was she's being investigated for money laundering through her winery. Right? That's the newest thing is that they're going to investigate probable money laundering through her winery. Last year, her husband opened or had a business. I don't know how long it's been open, whatever. But last year, his business cleared $1,000 in the fiscal year. 1,000. That's all he earned. 1,000. Right. This year, he's on track to make between 5 and 25. Right? She went in a thousandaire. Right? That's all she was when she got elected. She was a thousandaire. A couple $1,000s in the count. She's worth $30 million. She quarterbacks one of the largest pandemic fraud schemes in U.S. history called Feeding Our Future, $250 million in pandemic fraud, 90 plus people already indicted. Some of them are already in prison for this fraud. She's never been asked a question about. And now that she's under all of this scrutiny, Fry, her, Tim Walz, who also just came out today threatening to punch JD Vance in the face. He said something like, I want to beat the shit out of him or something like that was his exact words. Have you seen that?
No. That would be a horrible move.
I think JD Vance should take him up on his challenge. I want to see JD Vance. Let's
why don't we do that?
Boxing match.
No, the UFC's going to the White House.
Friend, I'm sure that Dana White. I'm sure Dana White would realize this would be bigger than anything they could possibly create. Right?
Oh yeah, people put money in that.
Oh, dude.
I know I would pay to see that.
I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that with him. So here it is right here. Check this out. So he literally starts the statement out that he's making right here where this is what he's saying about JD Vance. Listen.
I would beat the shit out of him now if I could, and I would call that out. I mean, that's just different. In verbally going at it, my argument is much better. In making the case that housing prices are up because of immigration and that we should build on federal lands, it was such a crazy thing. But then when I watched him, I got sucked into that. And if you remember, this was right in that moment of eating.
JD Vance whooped his ass on that debate stage. I mean, completely sunned him. It was terrible. It was hard to watch because he was like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, it was not pleasant. He looked like a babbling idiot. But running with Kamala, what are you going to do?
He was more feminine.
I would beat the shit out of him now if I could, and I would call that out. I would beat the shit out of him. I would beat the shit out of him. I would beat the shit out of him. I would beat the shit out of him now.
Dude, this is how elected leaders talk now. The right is so violent. The violent right, and that we're so violent, but yet they're the ones telling people to go out and get in people's faces, talking about taking Trump behind the bleachers. I don't know why there's not uprisings all over America.
Right.
This is the rhetoric from the left.
Right.
So irresponsible. And it's like you see, like they telegraph every single punch. It's like, okay, this is going on. All this fraud's being investigated. Now, I wonder what they're going to try to do to distract us from the investigations that are taking place. Now, we know something's going to happen. We don't know what.
Now they got another victim.
Good.
They got another victim.
Get your mic a little closer.
They got another victim now. So now they got her getting sprayed with this unknown substance by this horrible Caucasian attacker who will most likely be a Republican voter. They'll work that system.
It's like this. All these people talk about how bad white people are, right? How terrible white folks are. But let's just go down this list. I want to go down this list. I mean, let me find this. I had a post that I put up a few days ago. But a lot of posts go up real quick. So let me scroll down here and take a look.
Yeah.
But what I did was I collected several of the people that usually say that type of rhetoric, you know, how evil white folks are and that sort of thing. Here it is. And let me show it on the screen so you can see it. Right there. Now, what you'll notice is you got Kamala Harris, AOC, Lori Lightfoot. Who is that? I don't know who that is.
I
don't know who that is. But you got Don Lemon over here and Ilhan Omar over there. Anything you notice about all of them?
Every spouse or significant other is Caucasian.
Yeah. White people are so evil. Let's just go marry a bunch of them. Yeah, that's what I do to the race that is so horrid, so just absolutely unhinged, detached, oppressive, receives all this special privilege, out of thin air. We're not individuals. We're a bunch of people that are in a collective. We're I'm not just Eddie. You're not just Viking. You're in a collective, right? This is why I like the statement that Morgan Freeman said on more than one occasion. I think he said it again today or yesterday, where he told somebody, stop referring to me as black. Right. And he talked about him, when they were dealing with the racist issue. He's like, okay, you want this shit to go away. You want it to finally just stop. What you do is you stop talking about it. Right. Well, what about Black History Month? That comes up. And he says, well, I don't want a Black History Month. And he's talking to, I believe it was Mike Wallace. And he tells Mike, well, when's White History Month? He says, well, I'm not white, I'm Jewish, which really threw me off because white is white. It's tone of skin. It's not a racial, it's not an ethnicity. I'm from the land of white, right? No, you're white, dude. Jewish people are white. So he says, well, I'm Jewish. And he says, well, okay, fine. I'll play your dumb game. What month is Jewish History Month? There isn't one. You want one? No. Then no, I don't want one either. Some of the most just the common sense approach to the whole thing. I'm Morgan Freeman. I'm not black Morgan Freeman. I'm not white Eddie. You're not white Viking. We are all individuals. Right. Your skin tone means about as much as the color of shirt you have on right now.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is if you do that with any other skin tone, that is a big problem. But they can do that with Caucasian. They can do that with white. It's no problem. But if that's done with any other skin tone, that is a big issue globally. Everybody will freak out, lose their mind. And of course, then you're racist and everything else under the sun.
Yeah. Well, that's the entire idea, right? Make everyone appear to be racist. Make yourself appear to be the victim. Make yourself appear to be the one that's being attacked. Meanwhile, you're stealing left, right, and center. And you don't think anyone's going to pay attention. You don't think anyone's going to notice that you just happen to be victimized at a completely secured facility while you're on TV, and you let this drunk white dude come in, sit in the front row with a syringe loaded with some type of known substance.
Yeah, a big old syringe. Big old syringe.
It was a little big syringe, dude. It wasn't like the kind that you use when you got diabetes or something. That was that syringe was a good size.
Yeah, that was like you're giving horse injections.
And I still say the same thing. If she would have just left, been completely like, oh shit, what was in that? Right. I can't take the risk. I got to get to the hospital. Right. I might have bought it.
Me too. But her lack of concern is what just gives it away for me.
Exactly.
If I got sprayed, I wouldn't care what it was or where I was at. If somebody ran up and sprayed me with an unknown substance, at a bare minimum, I'm going to a bathroom to get that off of me as quick as possible. And she didn't.
If it was something, that could have been, who knows what kind of chemical or whatever. Right. All it has to do is have contact with the skin. And because it's wet, it could go through the skin. I mean, we're just talking possibilities here, right? So There's a million different possibilities at this point, all of which are probably going through my head. Being a person that is very high profile in the press, I'm under a lot of scrutiny. Half the country hates my guts because they actually see me for who I am. They understand that I was the child of someone who was in an oppressive regime, who escaped accountability to come to America, who married my brother, and who's stealing from America.
Right.
And this white guy in the front row squirted me with a syringe, some unknown substance, and I'm not concerned about what that was.
Right.
I'm not asking the question. I'm just going to go right back to the mic.
Right.
You know, you're trying to create the Trump moment when he actually got attacked by Thomas Crook, where he actually got his ear nicked by a bullet. And are you trying to do that right before the election? I mean, are you trying to build up some momentum? We don't believe you. I'm sorry.
Right. No,
I'm not falling.
No,
for
and
it.
I'm Minnesota strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm buying into that.
Not a bit.
No,
not a bit.
Not even the slightest bit.
I'll go another step further. I think within the next 2 or 3 days, the internet sleuths out there are going to do major digging into this guy.
Oh yeah.
And I would almost bet everything that he's going to come back. And this is how crazy this is, right? Because I think that if they pick a guy to do this, they're going to be very careful about the guy who's got to be the stooge. So I think that he's going to come back as a conservative. I do. I think he's going to come back registered Republican. But if you do a little more digging, what I'm sure you'll find is that he may be registered Republican. But if you go check out his social media, which probably doesn't exist at this point right now.
Right.
But I'm sure we'll find something. You'll find that he's very left-leaning.
Left-leaning, right.
Very left-leaning, like those weirdo Republicans against Trump, right? Big faction. They try to create this movement where you could still be a conservative, you can still be right-leaning, but you got to be against Trump. I mean, what are my options at that point? Okay, no, right. I'm a conservative, I'm a Christian, but I'm going to go with the lady who disavows Christ on national TV, who throws people out of her rallies for saying Christ is king, who wants to come in my house and inspect my weapons without a warrant, who wants to censor me all over the internet. And she said so many times. No, I'm not falling for it. And this is why I know globalism is real. We saw Liz Cheney, we saw Dick Cheney, we saw even George Bush, we saw Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, all of these people, the entire remaining McCain family, John McCain's wife and children, all come out for Kamala, right? What you're looking at is globalists, deathly afraid that Trump is going to get in there and do so badly what we want him to do. And right now, why the Republican Party, why the conservative base is so angry, because we don't see the action that we want, right? People are like, oh, look what ICE is doing. It's crazy. It's not. It's absolutely not. It's tame. It's tame.
Yeah.
Compared to what I would do, compared to the problem and it's like taking the syringe that this guy had to fight a house fire. No, you don't put ICE in this city, 200 ICE agents in that city, weeks apart or whatever. No, you send in the brigade. You send in everybody, all hands on deck. Let's get this shit cleaned up real quick. And then we can get back to normal after it's done. But for right now, we need to clean some things up. We need to put the game, flip the game board over and put the pieces back that actually belong on the board.
Well, they also need to stop all that nonsense that they're mayors and governors, that you can't keep pushing people to an end result and then be surprised when you get it.
Exactly.
They're putting their own people in dangerous situations, telling them to do something that they know is not right. And they're getting them to do it. And then they're playing the victim card. The reality is their people need to pull their head free from their ass and realize that they're being manipulated. They are being used as pawns in a game.
Yes.
And treated as such. And they don't even see it. And again, you and I do a lot of lives where we interact with a lot of people. We see a lot of sides to every coin. And the reality is these people are so naive to not see that they're being done that way.
Well, that's just the thing, right? You know, in some cases, I believe there are people on the left that are weak-minded, and they're around other people, and so they want to fit in. They want to be in the crowd. So what do? Everyone hates Trump. Yeah, I hate him too. And you try to think of a new reason that they didn't, so that you're accepted and you have your own view on the matter. But the reality of it is that you don't feel that way. And secretly, when you're in the booth, you're voting the other way, right?
Right.
And that's exactly what happened in this last election. And anyone who can't see that is got worse eyesight than Ray Charles, because the electoral map was, I mean, damn near entirely red, with the exception of very few places. Very few places. No,
it was a whooping.
It was pretty bad. I mean, to see in this day and age where there's so much vitriol, so much disconnect and divisiveness, to see Trump not just take 1 or 2 or 3 of the swing states, but all of them.
Right.
All of them, and the popular vote.
Right. When they anticipated he might get 1 or 2, but he got them. Every damn one.
Yeah. And you know why? And it's not because he didn't last time, because I believe he did last time too.
Me too. Absolutely.
I believe he did last time too. That's my opinion. I have no facts to back that up. But I could bring a lot of little facts to light that we know now that we didn't know then. A lot of them that Pam Bondi has recently brought to light about fraud that has been found out since that time.
Tulsi Gabbard just did
that's who I meant to say. Tulsi Gabbard. I'm sorry. That's who I meant to say. Yeah, Tulsi
She
Gabbard.
just did a press conference and said it directly. There's direct proof, evidence that points straight to Obama.
Yeah.
And she said it's irrefutable.
Yeah.
Which we already do that. Yeah. We already do that.
It was him that was quarterbacking the entire Crossfire Hurricane situation. He wasn't just an innocent player in the whole thing. I mean, there are text messages between him and Peter Strzok, and then you have Brennan in the background, orchestrating and choreographing the entire thing. You got Pence sitting in the White House next to Trump. He sees all the lying. He sees all the schemes that are going on. In fact, he probably knows a little better than most exactly what Trump was going through at that time and the attacks that were being waged against him at that time. Yet when he was on the debate stage and they said, if any of you are elected and Trump is indicted, will any of you pardon him? Raise your hand if that's you. Mike Pence is the only one that didn't raise his damn hand.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you be the closest to the guy and then turn around and say all the ignorant, absolute, just horrible things? And remember what I told you about the J6 incident and how many people were behind the scenes manipulating that to a specific end to try to get the visuals they want, to elicit the specific emotion they want, to get everyone's emotions on high and call it an insurrection where people show up. And yes, there were a few violent outliers, right? But by and large, that was not the crowd. A lot of those people walked into the Capitol grounds because the gates were open for them. Doors were open for them. They walked through. They wanted to respect the people's house. They picked up trash, stood things back up on end. They didn't go in there and burn anything. None of them brought weapons. None of them brought any of that. No one attacked the police officer. They tried to say Sick Nick was killed by a protester, but it turned out not to be true. He died of a heart attack. Right. Roseanne Boylan, she passed away due to what happened there at the Capitol. And you had Ashley Babbitt surrounded by Antifa members, Zach Alam and others that were there when she was shot by this coward who just happened to run a daycare center out of his house for the last 17 years. Him and his wife, neither one of them have taken any child caring classes, don't have any permits. I mean, I'd say permits, but let's say training that would say, hey, you have the ability to do this and the right to do this. But 17 years, not a single Yelp review, none of this that says we were actually in business. We're actually doing this. And this is the kind of thing, the indicator to me that this is going on throughout the whole United States. The blueprint of what we've seen take place, Nick Shirley exposed in Minnesota, is something that's happening across the whole United States. Absolutely. It's happening everywhere. $76 billion in fraud in California. $76 billion. And you're talking about a guy over there in Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is not the president. He's not a congressman. He's not a senator. He's not Secretary of State, all that. But yet he goes over to Davos and gives a speech where he says that the economic plan of Donald Trump is stupid. Now he's addressing world leaders.
Right.
World leaders. And he's not in a position to do so. He's not in a position to do so. You are the governor of one state.
Right.
And you run it terribly. It's so terribly, in fact, that Donald Trump had to federalize portions of California to go in and do the job that he wouldn't do. They wouldn't clean up the underbrush. They let all of the wells run dry. These people didn't have water to fight the fire. You had firefighters out there not suited for the job in positions of authority and higher positions in the fire department. One woman asked a woman asked the other woman, says, if my husband, 200 plus pounds, is trapped in a fire, are you capable of going in and carrying him out? And the lady says, well, if he's trapped in a fire, he's already doing the wrong thing. No, that wasn't the question. The question is, are you suited to do the job that you were hired to do? Right. Who
Can
are
you go in there and physically do it? Right.
Correct.
Not tell the guy that's caught in the fire, you're in the wrong place. Well, no shit.
And it's this stuff. I mean, she puts out a post here on X, and the post, this is, you want to know what caused all the violence in Minnesota, the ICE incidents and so forth? Right here. This appears to be an execution by immigration enforcement. I'm absolutely heartbroken, horrified, and appalled that the federal agents murdered. That is that right there. That's the reason why we have the things going on in this country that we do, because these assholes poured gasoline on a fire.
Absolutely.
And then you're
execution,
kind of surprised. You're surprised that there's a blaze?
Murder. Right. Using words like execution and murder. You don't think that's going to elicit a certain response?
Yeah, because now you have people like, well, that's my lawmaker. That's the people who represent my state, and they agree with me. So now I'm validated. If I go out and I do harm to these people, because even my elected officials believe these people are murderers. So that justifies everything I do from here on out, because I'm protecting myself from the enemy. Well, when you do that, you make it perfectly okay for those criminals to do those things and think that they're vindicated, justified by doing it. And in their minds, they are, because these people treat those criminals like heroes.
Right. Well, and on top of that, I mean, you and I have had this discussion in other places where people come in and say that, look at what's happened in Minnesota, look at Minnesota, look at Minnesota. It's like, wait a minute, ICE is everywhere. Why is it different? Why is it not happening in other places? Because their politicians and their leaders are not telling them to do these things. You know, when you have, like you said, when your mayor, your governor, when they stand up and say bad people and use words like execution and murder, then again, it emboldens their followers. And those people, like you say, they're jumping up to do the right thing and carry that Minnesota flag. And the reality is they need to carry a different flag that says, I need help because I'm mentally incapable of having rational thought that doesn't lead me into harm's way.
But that's exactly right. And anyone who saw that footage of his name was Pretty, the one they say was executed in the street. Right. We have one ICE officer behind him. They say disarms him. Right. But anyone with eyes can see that the guy that was in the front, the police officer that actually took the ICE officer that took the shot, would not have seen that officer disarm him. Right. And so all he sees is the holster on this guy's side. Let's not forget the fact that he had a couple of broken ribs because of an incident with ICE just a few days before. And then he shows up to this rally with 2 mags and the gun. The fact that he had the gun and the 2 mags, that's all legal. I will never bash him for that. But the intention, I'm speaking to the intention behind why he would do what he did. And then the left wants to consistently, well, what about Kyle Rittenhouse? Well, let's talk about Kyle Rittenhouse for half a second. Kyle Rittenhouse had a legal weapon. He had a legal weapon. He was at that rally. So they're square there, right? They both took weapons. Both weapons were legal. They tried to lie on Kyle, say that his weapon wasn't. He brought it across state lines. The barrel was beyond 18. None of this stuff was true.
No.
They tried to say he was there protesting when in fact he was there handing out waters helping guard a
Right.
friend's store. And so he wasn't a danger to these people, nor do I think at that point, personally, that he was even against those people. He was just there guarding a friend's store during what could have been a riot. He was
Right.
attacked. He was attacked by 3 people and could have lost his life if he didn't have that weapon. He protected his life. And then after that happened, he walked toward the police with his hands in the air and didn't have his hands on the weapon, like to say,
Right.
hey guys, I'm here. I didn't do anything wrong. I protected myself. This guy jumps in the middle of an ICE incident where this lady tried to interfere with ICE, they push her out of the way. He goes and grabs her. And then all of this takes place and he loses his life for reaching for his holster. Who's to say this guy didn't have a second weapon? If I was there
Right.
and I had my partners around me, my brothers in arms, and I see a guy reaching and I don't know if he's got a gun, I'm going to take whatever precaution I need to make sure me and my friends go home safe.
Right.
I'm going home to my kids. And
Right.
so, and I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
And these protesters shouldn't think that they deserve the benefit of the doubt. If any of them turn the TV on, they should already know what the situation is. The air is so thick.
You have protesters that Antifa out there telling people to go and purchase firearms and
And now
come
he's
to
on the
the
run.
street because it's time to fight. That is a clear and decisive statement. Go purchase firearms. Come, it's time to fight. Every man stands by themselves. There's no generals. There's no leaders. We stand together, shoulder to shoulder. Yep.
This is him, and here's his latest video.
The video I posted from the Alex Preddy murder, calling for direct action, calling for boots on the ground, calling for someone to stand against these murderers, was deemed inciting violence, and they're being.
He says that like it's not a fact. He literally called for
shocked.
violence. They didn't say. You said.
bullied by the administration. Clearly, I don't think that they're gonna let him take my account down, but I don't know what they're gonna do, man. They're gonna silence me somehow, and they're having a hard time putting a bullet in my head. So we shall see what they do to get the job done. I have a backup account in my bio. I am basically on the run now.
But he's in a very public place. There's people all around him. Music is playing. That's how safe these people are in these communities. This is so indicative of how radicalized the United States has become, that people that call out violence against the federal government are still able to walk into public places, order a burger, sit down, and make some more seditious videos. And this is like, come on, dude. Imagine in the 80s or the 90s, someone would have made a video like this. They wouldn't have been able to walk 2 blocks down the street without being spotted and the police being notified. But that was a time when the United States was much more, you may have had a different political leaning than me, but the one thing we agreed on is that we love our country.
Absolutely.
But that all changed after Obama. After Obama. And the country is more divided now than ever.
But they're blaming that on Trump.
No.
And the reality is agreed. Obama changed this country forever for the worst.
That's like you robbing my house.
I want to say no.
It's like you robbing my house and you getting mad at me for stopping you. Right.
Well,
all Trump did was come in. The problem was identified and he started working on fixing it. Now, is he going far enough? No, I don't believe so.
Not in my opinion.
I think it's at this point irresponsible of the administration not to enact the Insurrection Act. I think they need to enact it yesterday. I think the people that have done these things need to be held accountable sooner than later. So there are some shortcomings in the administration when 98 people are arrested, indicted, and imprisoned, but none of the people in power to hold these positions of authority are held accountable for the things
that
they
release
say.
the money.
Yeah.
The ones that release the money are still free.
But Maduro's in prison.
Yeah. It's funny because I mean, you and I have had this talk many times over. I love Trump. I think Trump is a great president, but I do believe he has horrible shortcomings. He promised us that if he was president, Hillary would be in prison. She's not. And here again, her and Bill both defied the law, and they're both still free. You know, what's happened in Minnesota, the governor, the mayor, they should be in prison. You know, everybody but I again want to stress, because I don't want anybody to think that I think that the Republicans are free. I've told you many times, I think there should be a 30, 60, 90-day perp walk where everybody that's done wrong, where everybody that's embezzled, check them all out, walk them all out. I don't care who they are.
I can tell you this, and I feel pretty good in saying this. I feel pretty sound in my logic. I think that if we see a major arrest of a Democrat, a notable one, where we actually expose their crimes and indict them for those crimes, you will see a show out in the polls for the midterms like you would never believe.
I believe that.
People will absolutely go out and vote because they're going to want to see more of this.
Mm-hmm.
But if we keep hearing these stories about 5D chess and building cases, like we're tired of hearing that shit. I mean, we're absolutely up to hearing the 5D chess line. It's over.
I want to see checkers. I want checkers. I want fast pace. I want it happening.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I believe there are those cases that exist where you probably need to take your time and do it right, because there's so many nuances to these cases and so much to consider. But that's not the case with Ilhan Omar. That's not the case with Fry. That's not the case with Tim Walz. And it's damn sure not the case with Gavin Newsom and those people in California that did whatever they did with the $76 billion. Right. So I think in my opinion,
it's not the case with the Clintons either.
It's not the case with the Clintons. And that was very confusing to me. It was very confusing to me with Bill, with the whole Trump Bill situation. People don't know what I'm talking about. Trump turns around and says that Bill Clinton is a great guy. They've always got along. I'll actually play it.
Yeah, I don't care if he's a great guy. I don't care if he plays great golf. I don't care if he's the coolest guy you've ever smoked a cigar with at a barbecue. You know, you cannot tell me that those two are not dirty. Anybody that knows anything about them, too many people suffer from a great deal of depression around them too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I got to find this statement, but I'm really not sure why, after the Epstein thing comes out, why he makes this statement. It just never has made much sense to me.
Well, and there's the other thing, you know, the left is screaming that, you know, let the Epstein files out. Trump, everybody knows Trump's on it, blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the reality. We absolutely know for sure that Epstein was at the White House 17 times, and he was flown on Epstein's plane 24 times. They asked
26.
Okay, so they asked,
and we're talking about Bill Clinton.
They asked them. Yeah, Bill Clinton. They asked him to come in and answer some questions, and Hillary, and both of them defy Congress. The hell with you, we're not coming.
Stacey Plaskett's texting with Epstein while she's sitting on the bench.
Right.
Yeah, during the cross-examination.
Right.
Chelsea Handler was going to dinner with Epstein after he was already indicted, while he, released after the case. So these guys know full well this guy was an awful human being and a pedophile, and they continue to defend him. And they probably secretly still do defend him, because they're probably all scared to death at some point the truth will eventually come out. And that's what happens when you're dealing with this many people in a cover up this damn big, is that somebody eventually is going to talk.
Right.
Somebody eventually is going to talk.
I think that's part of the reason that, when that vote went in to have Hillary and Bill charged, when that vote went in, the ones that voted that we didn't expect to vote, I think they're afraid to not get something on them. So they're trying to get away from it as much as possible.
So that's in 2008. But I mean, look at Bill Clinton right there.
Yeah.
Right. That's on Epstein Island right there.
Mm-hmm. Looking way comfortable. But no, wait a minute. That one up there at Trump, when they're at Mar-a-Lago and all of that, that's the one they're going to point at and see, Trump and Epstein were cool. Just because they're in the same room in the same circle doesn't mean they're cool.
That is Bill Clinton.
Oh yeah.
Butt ass.
You got all kind of, and that is not Hillary.
No, at all.
I promise you. You
Right.
take Hillary's suit pants off, you ain't gonna see that. Yeah, no
But
way.
I really want to find this this speech that he gives following the release of the Epstein files, where he's literally on stage saying that
with Donald Trump,
Bill Clinton, he's always got along with him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, I hate to
and he's
see his name or his picture being let out there, and he didn't want all these files coming out. The reality behind that is a little bit more nuanced than what a lot of people want to believe. The evidence that they try to use against Trump during the release of the Epstein files was all fraudulent. The letters that were written were postmarked after the guy who wrote them was dead. They were sent from the wrong P.O. box. The other one about hearing Trump say something in the back of a limo, which was overheard by the limo driver, that was a tip that came on the FBI tip line after hours by a guy who wouldn't give his name, who wouldn't even give the name of the limo driver. So this is evidence that's just concocted, and it's thrown in the middle of all these files. And the left just wants to hear Trump's name, and they will accept anything that you say bad about Trump. Well, I'm still searching for this. I'll put this back up like this, but no, so it doesn't really matter what you say about Trump. They're going to receive it with open arms and with no questions. And they're going to say, look, see, I told you. And you got a nothing burger. You have an absolute nothing burger.
They run Trump through like he's the most evil person that's ever walked Earth. And the reality is, if you just step back and look at what he's doing, he's done a fine job. So again, like when the Democrats allowed the government to get shut down, they pointed at Trump and it was Trump, bad orange man, bad orange man. And the reality is he just didn't want fraudulent money going to wrong places again. And so because we wouldn't allow that to happen, they shut the government down. And then what they didn't realize is they inadvertently let him prove that this country could run off tariffs. And then they hurried up and reopened it.
Well, the country did run off tariffs. It was designed that way. 1913 started this federal income tax experiment, and it was supposed to be only for a very short time. There are a lot of arguments. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of arguments based over the language used in the 16th Amendment to say that it wasn't truly ratified, because those people who voted for the 16th Amendment because of the language that was in it didn't realize that they were voting for a tax that would be levied across the entire country on everybody on an ongoing basis. So a lot of them protested that. That's not what we voted for, but they used the same language and changed the punctuation a bit to make it sound like, no, that's exactly what you voted for. And now we have this entity called the IRS who can act unilaterally without a judge giving a warrant or whatever, and freeze your bank accounts, judgments, liens, levies on your earnings, all these sorts of things. And without a single warrant, they can just shut your bank account down and freeze your assets. And, so when Trump started talking about, creating the External Revenue Service and issuing these tariffs and having the tariffs be what he's doing now, Trump is touting the fact that there's going to be a $15 trillion gain in the economy based on what he's done. Now, I've done the numbers. I've looked at it. I can't come up with $15 trillion. I think I come up with somewhere around, it was like 200 billion or something. Nothing close to what he was saying, but they're saying there are other investments. You got to consider that he did get a $5 trillion investment from Qatar and another one from Saudi Arabia. So there are other investments that are going to be taking place in the United States over the next couple of years, and which most likely we won't see the effect of until the following administration. Now, God forbid that following administration is left, but if that administration does happen to be left, we won't be talking about this anyway, right? Because we won't be talking on here. They will be shutting us down. They'll be censoring us. They'll be deplatforming us and doing whatever they can to make sure that no one is there to pull the curtain back on what they're really doing. That's the entire thing that happened around COVID. They didn't want anyone talking about it. And they didn't want anyone talking about the election. Always be afraid of the people you can't criticize.
Right. Well, on certain platforms, we still can't talk. On certain platforms, we're definitely still being censored, much, much, much harder than the left is. So again, this gentleman, I use that term loosely, got up there and called for weapons and boots on the ground. Imagine if one of us said that I wouldn't have an account. They would certainly have me gone. I would probably be sitting in a cell right now.
Yeah, but that's exactly right. And now people are really upset over the changes that occurred on TikTok, because now TikTok is not allowing them to upload anti-ICE videos. Imagine that. A social media platform that's conscious enough not to allow you to continue to pour gasoline on an existing fire and create more anti-government sentiment in a country that is teetering on the brink of, a head-to-head, an eventual head-to-head. I think that we've all came to that conclusion where it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when and what line has to be crossed in order to do it, which is why I speak out often about the fake patriots that are out there in the streets marching, trying to get the right to stand up, because I think that the government as a whole, and I'm not just talking about left or right, I think there are moles on the right. I think there are a lot of them that appear to be something they're actually not. And they would love to see a head-to-head conflict in this country, one where they can assume the type of power that makes it look like they're protecting us, all the while they're just taking our rights away.
Right.
And that's what will happen if the right ever goes outside and meets the left head on. They will say, in order to keep you guys safe, we're going to institute curfews, and your groceries have to be gotten the same way, a certain way, liberals on this day, conservatives on that day. Who knows what they're going to do? But it's
a matter of fact, let's hold on and let's take away that Second Amendment, because you're not going to need that. We're going to take care of you. That Reagan thing.
We need to make sure that no one during this time right now, that no one is armed enough to be able to harm us while we're doing our jobs. So this is the problem that I have with the idea of having lists with people's names on it and what they own, because lists are only used for one thing.
Right.
So we know where to
Nothing
go to take away from you what's yours. I don't need a list of what you have unless I plan on taking it from you.
Right.
So
well, if you look throughout history,
here it is,
lists never end well.
Not even Schindler's List, right?
No.
Photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files, and can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they're giving their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers. And Bill Clinton was a friend of his, but everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. And as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. This is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida. And everybody would come here. He'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein many years ago. And they're, highly respected bankers and lawyers and others. And they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about.
This is where I disagree with Trump. I love the guy, but I disagree. Thomas Massey is the most consistent fiscal conservative in the entire Republican Party. Not paid off, not bought and paid for like the rest of these guys, not in the pocket of AIPAC. The guy is a consistent conservative with a solid record, right? 91% of the time when this guy votes, he votes with his party. He's not anti-Republican. He's not anti-Trump. there are issues in which Massey doesn't want to take a step back from. He says, this is the hill I'm dying on. Here it is. And I'm not changing my mind. You're not going to convince me. You're not going to manipulate me. And I love people like that. This is why I liked Marjorie Taylor Greene quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I was enamored with her for quite a while. Loved her attitude, that kind of get in your face, tell it how it is attitude. Right.
Yeah.
I think we all did. Yeah, exactly. Remember, I'll never forget when the reporter approached her and said, well, was it Jewish space lasers? And she goes, go fuck yourself. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I love that chick, dude. Yeah. And then to see her on The View, to see her go on CNN to spout off about how she doesn't want to take part in toxic politics. Mind you, she may have stayed consistent with her views on political issues, even when on The View. She went on there and played friendly with these people. Yeah. And Sonny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, these are not good people.
No.
These are not good people.
No, I can't stand that show. And the fact that it's still on that says a lot about our country.
Well, I thought at one point they were going to be taken off. I thought, Trump was going to sue them. He forced an apology out of Sonny Hostin. I mean, but the thing is, even on this show, even on this network, I want to keep things solid. I'm not going to tell you. And if I do say something that's not necessarily proven, I'm going to tell you, this is just what I think. This is my opinion. I have nothing to back this up. I have my
perspective. Right.
Correct. And I want to make sure to distinguish between the two. The other things that we talk about, that we bring up, there are things that I've researched and I know to be true. I'm not just going to spout off things off the top of my head for clicks or likes or views or shares or whatever the hell else. Right. I'm not going to do it. And people that do that are absolute sellouts. Anyone who took the $7,000 from the Little Hat people, and anyone who takes the $8,000 a month from Chorus on the left, which is doing the same thing, I'm not on board. I'm not on board. But I'm not on anyone's team, right? And that's the part that no one gets. Everybody wants to be on a team, part of a cause, for an agenda. You will flush your integrity right down the toilet.
Right.
The moment that you start defending an individual to the point where in your mind's eye, he can never be wrong.
Right.
And when you do that,
that's horrible.
You have no integrity left.
Yeah.
Because you're willing to sacrifice your integrity for the sake of that person's. So you're going to follow them right off a cliff.
So, I mean, you and I have talked many times. Again, I'm a big fan of Trump, but there's so many things I wish he would do different. So there's so many things I just don't agree with about the man. I think I love the fact that he just says whatever he wants, but
that's the part I really like.
In the same respect, sometimes I wish he would say less of it. You know what I'm saying?
There is that.
It's like that's the guy I love, but stop right there. You know what I mean?
There definitely is that aspect. I've heard people say, I wish someone would take his phone from him. Things like that. But and then other times you're glad they didn't, right? Because he's just going to say the thing, and it just he is the ultimate. Trump is the ultimate troll, and I put Elon Musk. I put Elon Musk like right there, right next to him. Elon Musk is another one who's just the ultimate troll.
Well, I mean, what sold me on Trump is probably what sold the rest of the world. He's not a career politician. He's a businessman. Mm-hmm. He's smug. He's pompous. He has all of those negative things that work in a positive way. So just like when he went to see the auto industry, that guy starts yelling profanities. He says,
yeah, flips him the bird.
I love that. And I hear the left, that's very presidential of him. I thought it was sweet. That's what I want in an American president.
I want a fighter. I want a guy that doesn't have a line in the sand that he won't cross to do what's right. That's the problem that when I was talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene earlier, and why I was on her side at first. I was like, Trump threw her under the bus, and all she was doing was fighting to get these Epstein files out. They finally released these files, but they keep the abuser's name blacked out. Dude, we're done with that. Like, let the files out. And I remember Nancy Mace walking out of that room after talking with the victims, and she's completely inconsolable. Have you ever seen this video?
Oh yeah, where she's all distraught, and she should be. But I mean, they just let it happen.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I have the issue with. If whatever they told you in that skip, it's not top secret. It's not a matter of national security. Well, it might be a matter of national security, depending on who they're telling.
I think it is. And I think that's the reason the Epstein files haven't came out yet, because I think it's a lot deeper than people think. I think it wipes out Hollywood, number one. But I think it wipes out many governments. I mean, I think it upturns the world as we know it.
Here's my thing, though. Here's my issue with this. She obviously knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
People obviously know. And if you know, and you know you're sitting on the committee or you're sitting on the Senate floor, congressional floor, whatever the case may be, if you're sitting there and you know, then why aren't you telling anybody? Look at her, how she's walking out of this hallway.
Oh, yeah.
It's a terrible scene. Now, whoever in her position that obviously knows some things, the way they gain my respect is I don't give a shit about what you wrote down or what I'm supposed to say or not supposed to say or what you think is the proper thing to do. I'm going to tell the truth. The next microphone I can get in front of in that hallway, I would have said him, and him. Right? There's a difference between telling and snitching. You know the difference? I'm a snitch if I'm protecting myself by telling on you, because we co-conspired here to do this crime together. Right? We robbed the bank together.
Deals, right?
Correct. We robbed this bank together, but I'm going to get a lighter sentence than you because I'm telling on you. Right? However, then there's telling the truth, which is just you doing the job we elected you to do. So next time you get in front of a microphone, I'm waiting. Where are the names? Who are you going to tell on? Which of these guys did this? I mean, I consistently hear there are a lot of powerful people, a lot of people you guys know. Okay, who? Quit doing this shit and dangling this carrot in front of our faces.
Right.
And then not telling us. Right.
Well, I mean, and to me, I think the reality is they always want to go, well, we're afraid. Well, I tell you what, wait, do a town hall, tell us, and then stand behind us. We'll make sure you're okay.
Exactly right. It was like that victim that was standing there with Ro Khanna, Thomas Massey, and Nancy Mace when they were in front of the Capitol and they were doing a live press conference. Okay, there's your opportunity.
Right.
But even the victims didn't say anything, but they did embarrass. I don't know if it was NBC, ABC, or CBS. It was one of them. They had like 10 of the people that were there, and they figured they were going to get this big reveal, and they were going to ask them this question. Hey, so what did Trump have to do with any of this? Any of you guys know that Trump had any affiliation with what was going on? And they said no.
Right.
No. So over and over again, you hear Trump working with Epstein's lawyers to get the truth out.
Right.
Epstein being offered a sweetheart deal if he only throws Trump under the bus.
And he couldn't.
Trump working with the FBI.
Right.
To try to help bring the truth out.
Right.
So no, I am at this point thoroughly confused as to what it is we're dealing with and who actually has committed the crimes that we all know were committed. But also at the same time, I don't want to compare when they're talking about the, and I said this before too, and a lot of people need to understand, if you think Epstein is that bad, and he was.
Oh yeah.
Why aren't we talking about Biden in the same light? Why aren't we talking about the guy who trafficked over 400,000 people, kids, unaccompanied minors, into this country, many of whom, when they got here, were sold into sex slavery, made to do horrible things, or maybe are not even above ground anymore.
Right.
Right. So this is the America that Biden created with his lawlessness. And I think they wanted a stooge, somebody in there that appeared to be so incompetent that he didn't know which way to walk off the stage. And then just let all these terrible things happen, and for the United States to fall and implode in on itself. And then don't blame the old guy who doesn't know what day it is. And
Right.
yells,
The
"Wipe
poor,
my butt."
confused old grandfather.
Yes. Yeah. He tried to play that role and it didn't work. It didn't work out. It didn't work out. And I'm not about to fall for it.
No,
I'm not going to
I
sit
got
here.
no respect for that answer anyway.
Yeah.
If you're going to sit and say he was the poor, confused old grandfather, then why was he still in office?
Yeah. If he couldn't do the job, which is exactly what special counsel Robert Hur said, the FBI questioned him for hours and then came away with saying, we can't take this guy to trial. He's obviously guilty, but we can't take him to trial because he's not competent enough to stand trial.
But he's competent enough to be our president.
But you didn't invoke the 25th Amendment?
Right. The one they tried to enforce on Trump.
This is the things that I don't agree with. I don't agree with them. Yeah. And these are the things that the left overlooks and the media wishes that we would forget.
Yeah.
Right. They want us to blame Trump for everything. Trump bad, orange man bad syndrome, TDS, and then forget about the fact that a special counsel prosecutor from the FBI privately questioned President Biden and came away with he is too incompetent.
Right.
To stand trial.
But he's still okay to be the president.
This
sounds awful iffy to me.
It's more than just iffy.
Well,
it's
but
terrible.
here's another thing. Here's another way to look at that and take out of that. Biden was too incompetent to be held accountable, but they would rather keep him in the presidential office than to give it to his vice president.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I never seen anyone
out there.
I never seen anyone, with the exception of Obama. And that's true. Obama came on the scene in the political scene, started out as a organizer in Chicago, meets William Ayers, leader of the Weatherman Underground, goes on to take the seat that he wasn't elected to as a senator. The seat was abandoned by his predecessor there. She comes back for the seat after running in whatever special election she was trying to get into. He writes a bunch of, he contests her ability to be able to take this seat. Meanwhile, he goes straight to running for national office, the presidency. After he does that, and the media hypes him up to be much bigger than what he is. He is a member of a racist church for more than 20 years. He's counseled and mentored by Franklin Marshall Davis, who wrote The American Communist. He's best friends with William Ayers. He knows Teresa Dorn. The people that went to the college the same year that he was there, like Wayne Allen Root, say, I don't even remember seeing this guy. Right. And you have people like John D'Souza out there. Now, I don't know how true John D'Souza's claims are. I don't know that the guy's on the level or not, but he was an FBI agent. He was the consultant on the show The X-Files, and says this guy was a trained foreign asset named Renegade. He actually calls him Renegade, right? That was his code name Renegade. Special train, and then he comes in and becomes our president. And this is after 12 years of this country seeking Obama bin Laden for the 9/11 attacks. And we're fighting against radical Islam and searching for this guy named Osama for 12 years. And then we elect Barack Hussein Obama. Tell me how much sense that makes.
None. But again, that's more of the same nonsense before. Everything that the left does, if you put forth a little research, things just don't add up. I mean, Barack Hussein Obama, absolutely. But on top of that, where's his birth certificate from? The
birth certificate is completely created out of thin air.
We proved that. One that they showed was false. We already know that. We know where the real one comes from. He spoke it while on the campaign trail. And he said openly and honestly where he was born, and we still allowed him to be the president.
That birth certificate, I know there's a lot of people that don't like to talk about the birth certificate. I spoke to Joe Pio on the phone. We had a great phone conversation. We spoke about the birth certificate. The birth certificate is posted online. There are people that took the birth certificate offline, opened it in Adobe, and were able to separate the layers on the birth certificate. His sister says he was born in one hospital in an interview. He says he was born in another. There's no proof of either. His grandmother said he was born in Kenya. She tells an entire story. Granny Sarah did a radio interview where she's talking to a host, and she tells a story about his mom coming to Kenya. Tells a story about his mom coming there. She's like 8 months pregnant. She's in her 9th month now. Now they won't let her back on the plane to fly home because she's too far gone in the pregnancy. So she remained in Kenya to have Obama. And that was a story that we were all told. Phil Berg, who was one of the chairs in the Democratic Party, was the one who came up with the birther theory that Obama doesn't have a birth certificate. He wasn't an American citizen. That was a Democrat. Right. That was a Democrat who did that. His name was Phil Berg. And so Donald Trump comes out on this same issue. Then they did some investigating. And that investigation turned up this, they finally released what's called a certificate of live birth. People take a look at this certificate. They open it up and they see the fonts aren't quite the same. It looks put together. Let's see if this thing has layers. And they start separating the layers and pulling it back. And you come to see that it's 8 documents made into one.
Superimposed, right?
Correct. So that's the theory. And with a president who was in office for 4 years, who signed very little of the documents himself that came across his desk. You have Obama saying, I'd rather run the country from a basement in sweatpants and not have anyone know it was me doing it. Right. All these pardons that were handed out willy-nilly for people who absolutely, beyond any shadow of a doubt, did some horrible things, and his son especially.
Yeah, well, his son's was special. His son's was special, though.
Future expiration.
I've never seen a pardon like that. Never have I seen anything like that. An open
I didn't know it was possible.
Pardon.
I would have called you a liar if you told me that was possible.
I would have never
pardoned you for future crimes.
Right. I'd have never thought that was a possibility. I mean, he literally gave him carte blanche. Here's your blanket. Go do whatever you want, and you're good.
Correct.
And that's just crazy.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. So what I'm waiting for right now, what I think America is waiting for right now, is that hero, that person who's willing to put it all on the line and tell us the truth.
Right.
That's why I said a lot of times that we need elected officials to have the mentality of a soldier. A soldier goes to war. He doesn't know he's coming home.
Right.
He's willing to give
agree.
it all. He's willing to sacrifice it all. When are we going to see a politician that does not give a shit about the next election, about being part of this, tomorrow, or a part of this club, but wants to set the record straight, right? Nancy May should have walked out of that room, walked up to the first TV camera in front of her and said, here's what they told me. Here are the people you guys are looking for. And that would have been it, right? She would have been hailed as a hero. She would have been hailed as a hero. That lady would be on track to be the next president of the United States.
Right. Grab your buckles, Buttercup. Here we go.
And that's what I'm waiting for. That's why I don't respect what MTG did, because she took a stand and she pushed for it. But then when she got, a little bit of sarcasm from the president for doing it, she quit. Yeah. Dude, I would have been on her side had she not quit.
Oh yeah. I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. I thought that was just such a badass woman. Everything she did,
quit, give up on the country.
I thought she was a gunfighter. You know what I'm saying? She was modern day Jesse James. She was out there.
So what I come to find out is that she had her eye on a Senate seat. She wanted to run for a Senate seat, and she wanted the endorsement, and she didn't get the endorsement. And as a result of that, these guys, the two of them fell out, I guess, behind the scenes before it was ever in front of the scenes. But it was everything to do with, I want you to stop pushing this Epstein thing.
Right.
This is the confusing part, because every bit of digging that I've done clears Trump from any wrongdoing. I've done some very deep dives. I mean, I've spent more than 10 hours in a single day going through documents, OCRing documents, scanning documents, feeding them into GPT models, looking at pictures, trying my best to figure out what the hell is going on, because I know all too well that they love to overload us with legal documentation. And what you're looking for is one piece of paper in a stack of 1,000.
Right.
So I'm looking for that one piece of paper, that one inkling of information that they don't realize that they gave to us. That's actually more powerful than anything we could ever realize. It is, something that's just going to click. And all the research that I done and all the looking I did, all the reading, everything I did consistently over and over again clears President Trump from any wrongdoing.
Right.
But that is not consistent with telling people that forget this. This is a hoax. Are you still on this Epstein thing? Those are the things that confuse me. That they
and I don't like
confuse me.
I don't like that. But again, and you and I have talked personally about this issue. I personally believe that it's so damning for so many people that it actually probably could cause a global event.
Sure.
And I think it's a lot bigger than people think. Now, do I want to see those in our country involved in it pay the price? Absolutely. Do I want to see the world pay that price? No, not necessarily.
Well, here's the thing, is it that moral dilemma? And that's the question, right? Is it that moral dilemma where it's like, okay, we can out the truth, but in doing so, are we doing more harm than good? Or is it that as long as I know these things and I have this, this bad blackmail on you, you are now controllable, and you're much more used to me in a controllable state than you are in prison.
Right.
So there's any number of ways you can look at this or what's truly going on. But all I know right now is it doesn't make sense.
No,
it doesn't make sense to say it's not a big deal to worry about this guy who was trafficking young women and molesting them and these horrible things that occurred, and to sweep them under the rug and then call anyone that wants it exposed a traitor.
Right.
That part will never make sense to me. And that,
no,
I'm not going to say I know the reason why, but in all the research that I've done, the only thing I do see is consistently is that I can't find fault with him in the files themselves.
No. Well, I mean, Trump has been open and honest that he didn't like Epstein. Now, they were around one another, and that's what the left keeps leaning on. Oh, there's pictures of him. Mm-hmm. Do you know how many people would have had pictures with Epstein?
Yeah, I got pictures with Mickey Mouse. That does not mean I'm in a
Mouseketeer. Right.
Yeah.
But the reality is that Epstein was around everybody at that time.
Sure.
You name it, he was around them.
And even way after.
Same social events, same circles. Even if you didn't like the man, you were still going to be literally next to him.
That's right.
So, and they want to run with that. Well, how are we overlooking the fact that he was at the White House more than most congressmen, during Bill Clinton's term? And I don't hear the left screaming about this. They keep wanting to point at Trump because there's a picture of him and Trump and they were pals. He came to the White House and seen Bill Clinton more than congressmen and women did. Bill Clinton was at the island more than Epstein was at the White House. And when you put those two numbers together, that's an astronomical number.
Especially when knowing Bill Clinton's past. Anyone who's ever seen the Clinton Chronicles, if you have not seen the Clinton Chronicles, I suggest you go over to Rumble, you type in Clinton Chronicles, you watch this. When you watch this, you will understand that this guy has more skeletons in his closet than anyone who's probably ever held that office. All the way back to his time as governor in Arkansas, running the federal banking system at AGFA, getting people to give hundreds of $1,000s in campaign donations to him and forgiving loans that he gave out of AGFA. As a result, you got all the Paul of Flowers and all these different women that are coming through, all the people in Arkansas that testified that he was having cocaine-laced parties with fast women and all. I mean, there's quite a few people. It's a 10-year-old that lost his life on railroad tracks because they say the Clintons were they were having bundles of large amounts of drugs, was at least shown in this documentary, dropped into a field. And these kids were like, why are these planes flying so low over this field? Let's go take a look. So they sneak out one night, right? They're One's probably a little older, one's a little younger, and they're going to sneak out in this field and they want to go see why these planes are flying in so low over this field every night. Well, they're dropping off bales out of the plane as it flies over. Well, it said that that the kid saw something a little more than what he was supposed to, and he lost his life that night. And Bill Clinton is tied directly to this. Matter of fact, his brother Roger ended up taking the cocaine distribution charges for Bill Clinton, and then Bill Clinton pardoned him as soon as he became president. He also brought an entire staff with him to the White House. Now, why that's a little weird is because prior to Bill Clinton, the people that worked in that White House did it generationally. So they always served the president. They didn't care what political affiliation he was. Those people that worked there. Bill Clinton comes in, first president ever, walks into the White House, fires everybody. Everybody. They refer to police as pigs. They teach their daughter to refer to police as pigs. They're horrible people.
Right.
I mean, and it's known that obviously they market themselves in secrets as currency and things like that. I mean, Bill, look, Hillary Clinton, when the whole email gate stuff went down and she's in the courtroom, she says, what, if I go down, everyone's going down.
Right.
What the hell does that mean? And then you walk out of there like it's not a big deal.
No, she's on the buddy system. If she's going down, everybody's going down.
Yeah. So
and
what do
that's
you know?
just the way that's just the way they are. They're dirty. And the world knows it. But again, this is my problem. And again, I can't stress enough. Trump is not perfect. He makes mistakes. He's making mistakes that I don't agree with daily. Again, I think there should be perps walked from both sides of the aisle straight out. And that's the fact. But you cannot compare anything from Trump with the Clintons. If you cannot see that the Clintons are dirty on every conceivable manner of the word, then you're blind.
Which is why his statements about Bill Clinton still.
Exactly. I got issues with that, but I question why he would say such a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Trump's not a stupid man.
Politically impartial to make it look like I just think the whole thing is bad, no matter who it is. I don't want to piss off the Democrats at the same time. I don't want to piss off the Republicans. And there's a lot of people walking around today that were sold out on MAGA. And now they're what they call black-pilled, right? They're just disillusioned and jaded with the entire political process for lack of action that things that we have been waiting for a long time to see. Now, my hope is that you got the midterms coming up and you're waiting to as close as the election that you can possibly get. And then right before the election, maybe a month or so before the election, for the optics, you go ahead and you start making these arrests. I think that it would be a politically good move. It would be a great move.
I hope so.
I'm praying for that. I'm hoping for that. I think America is hoping for that. I think that no matter what Clinton does, you're going to see the left turn out in droves to support the criminals that they arrest. They will never believe or respect or accept the decisions made by whatever jury indicts or imprisons those people. And they will always call it political persecution, but it doesn't matter. They're going to think Trump is a tyrant no matter what he does.
Absolutely.
So just
do it. Yep.
Just be the guy, clean the country up, let the history books tell the truth.
Right.
150
years from now, we'll still be a country if he does this.
You want that face on Mount Rushmore? You want that? You want that? Well, do something that no one before you has ever done.
Right.
Fix this stuff. Clean it up.
I'll tell you, my opinion of Trump as a president when I first seen him and he decided he was going to run. And I remember saying it, that the thing that I admired the most about Trump is that he's got an enormous set of brass balls and he ain't afraid to lay them on the table. Now's when we need to see him.
But we need, we need
this
to see
is when we need to see him. We need you to bust that table.
Yeah.
Drop that big set of brass balls and show the whole world that you're not afraid to put our people in prison because they've screwed up.
And actually put America first. Put America first for real.
Right.
The MAGA movement
people first.
Yeah. The MAGA movement was prided on America first. It wasn't prided on Israel first. It wasn't prided on any of these things first. The other thing I'd like to see him do is cut off all this unnecessary foreign spending to all of these countries who hate our guts. I like what Tim Burchett said. I'm fighting for Tim Burchett to show up at CPAC. I would love to hear him speak. He's one of the most conservative people that's just consistent across the board. I love what he says. I love the bills he sponsors. I love the language that he uses, and that he's so willing to come out and tell the truth that other people just don't want to talk about.
Right.
I know this because I experienced it personally, having him on the show, and I'm like, what did he just say? You know, did he just say that UFOs are real?
Yeah.
Did he just say that Congress is paying off a massive amount of millions and millions of dollars and to people to keep themselves, you know, from being charged with sex crimes that are, I mean, is he's just talking about these things so openly and unabashedly, like this is just the truth. And that's exactly what I expect out of people like John Kennedy, for instance, whose cross-examinations I absolutely love. I think they're one of some of the most classic cross-examinations of anyone who's ever held his seat. And also, I mean, right now there are people that I like, but I disagree with, like Rand Paul. Rand Paul's father is my political hero. Ron Paul, his dad, absolutely stellar fella. But Rand Paul's approach to illegal immigration, it leaves a lot to be desired, bud. I'm sorry. You just don't cut off the welfare and leave them in the country.
No,
that's not how you do it. No. 22 million plus is an invading force. You meet an invading force with yours.
Right. An invading force with a force. But the reality is, I'm real sick of hearing people say that it's not a tax on our system. It shouldn't affect the American people. How do you think 22 million illegal people in this country isn't taxing our system? That's taking food, housing, jobs,
opportunities,
medicine.
scholarship.
That's taking everything away from our people.
Every hospital bed that is occupied is a hospital bed that an American can't be in. Our tax dollars go to our infrastructure, to our systems, to our hospitals, to our roads, to our jobs, to create an infrastructure that is supposed to be by, for, in every way, the American people.
Us. Right.
Yeah. The American people.
But it's not.
And they are handing out and giving away for free the American dream to other people. And when they do that, they rob the Americans that deserve that by it's their birthright. And you're giving it away to someone else who came here to steal and usurp the American dream right out from underneath our feet. And you have a bunch of people that are siding with them and that are absolutely okay with the American dream being pimped out by people who don't give a shit about the country, that just want to see it flushed down the tube.
Well, and on top of that, you have these illegal immigrants that are now posting videos on social medias and laughing while they're eating shrimp and they're eating lobster, telling the American people how we're eating like this in the house you pay for, driving the car you provide us.
Yeah, go to work.
Here's my card that gives me money. Here's my other card that gives me food. And now you go to work while I play my video game.
Exactly.
It's like, how the hell does somebody not see that and pull all of that from that person?
Well, not just from that person, but from anyone.
Right.
You know, there was a time back in the 30s
specifically.
There was a time back in the 30s, but it was a time in the 30s where somebody, I forget who it was, and I'd look the name up, but they went to the president and they floated the idea of basically giving away money to foreign countries, tax dollars, the way we do now, so willy-nilly. President told him, I think it may have been Eisenhower, may have been before Eisenhower. I'm going to look it up, but essentially told him, never bring that to me again, or essentially I'm going to have your job, maybe have you up on charges. Right. We go from that same country that fought a war over a 2% tax on a breakfast beverage, to being overtaxed, tax for living, tax for dying, tax for breathing, tax for driving, tax for doing whatever the hell it is you're doing. You get taxed when you get paid, and you tax again when you spend it. You get taxed when you invest. You get taxed when you divest. There's a tax for every damn thing that you do in life. And yet all that money is going to foreign countries. Do you think that the United States is $38 trillion in debt because of the United States and the people in the United States? It's not. It's in debt because of Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, and all of these other countries that we're supporting.
Everything else.
Tim Burchett said it right when he said they can hate us for free. You know, that is exactly how I feel. If you're going to hate us anyway, do it for free.
So I take Colonel Parker's stand on that. You remember Colonel Parker?
I don't.
That was Elvis Presley's manager.
Okay.
So he had a pin that you wore on your shirt. He had a pin made that said, "I hate Elvis." Through everything that he had made that said, "Elvis is great. I love Elvis, blah, blah, blah." He had a pin for your shirt made that said, "I hate Elvis." And he said, why would we want them to hate him for free when they'll pay us to do it? We have that here. We can make them pay us to hate us. We don't have to pay them to hate us. You looking it up? Colonel
I'm
Tom
looking
Parker.
it up right now. I'm trying to. I know that it was a president. I don't know which one it was.
Oh, I thought you was looking up Colonel Tom Parker.
No, I'm not looking up Tom Parker.
I'm telling you, he made a pin that said, "I hate Elvis." And that was a dirty guy too. He took 50% of Elvis's profits.
Well, Elvis is Bob. What's his name? Bob Joyce?
Tom Parker.
No.
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
Joyce.
So I'm going to tell you what, I don't disagree, man. Have you ever heard Bob Joyce sing? I heard him sing American Trilogy and watched his hand movements, the way that he moves the microphone. I bought right into that. I was like, you might.
Well, he's got Elvis's black guitar. He showed up to Elvis's daughter's funeral, which was a private family event, was greeted by Priscilla with a hug. There's just a bunch of things. The scar on his face, the gap tooth in the front. There's just so many things that really does. And there's a lot. I mean, it's very conspiratorial to like, Elvis is still alive. But, and I was just like that until I actually saw Bob Joyce's whole story.
Yeah.
And found out he was married to Elvis's high school sweetheart.
Yep.
What?
Funny.
Yeah.
All the connections.
Then Bob Joyce floats a law with the guy who previously worked at Rolling Stone to change the law in such a way as that people who fake their death can come back without any legal ramifications. Why would you do that?
He just sold out his first concert too. And his first record was gospel, just for the record. And that's where Elvis got his only award, was for gospel music.
So here it is, not what I'm looking for, but this is very relevant. So I'm looking at this statement made by George Washington in his famous farewell address in 1796. Washington explicitly cautioned against permanent alliances with foreign nations, so NATO, right? And the dangers of the foreign influence corrupting American policy. He warned that such attachments could lead America to pay bounties or extend favors to foreign powers at the expense of our own interests.
Right.
Tell me that he didn't foresee all this. When I hear people say the founding fathers we're not as smart as a fifth grader, that we're much smarter than they were, like they were primitive cavemen. They had a better command of the English language than anyone today. All their studies were, I think, a lot more intensified than what we have with computers in our labs and a lot of the automation and the stuff that they had. So those guys were a lot smarter than what anyone gives them credit for. And anyone who studied our founding documents and read the Federalist Papers, Constitutions, the Bill of Rights, and you actually see that these guys thought of every possible thing that they could think of to make sure that our country protected our freedoms and our liberties, and our government served us instead of the other way around. And yet that is the very thing they're trying to tear down right now, because they know as long as there's a free people with a will to stay free, they can never gain full power, full control, the way they want to. Ultimate and unabashed power, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's the same.
Absolutely. Every single time.
That's why we see the Democrat Party right now. They're not seeking to defend or help the people, restore prosperity to our country, make us safer. No, what they're doing is seeking power, because if they were really like that, and that was really their mindset, they would agree with Trump on some things, and other things they would disagree on, but they would find common ground where there was actually common ground to be had. Right. But that's not what it is. They're anti-Trump everything, no matter what that particular thing happens to be.
Yeah.
That is the biggest indicator.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
Trump could give out cash money to every American and they'd still hate him.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he does. I mean, anything he says, they act like he's just plumb out of his mind. And when he says something that's absolutely right, they'll figure out a way to make it wrong. I've never seen anybody hate like they hate Trump. I've never seen anything like it. It's crazy. So that Trump derangement syndrome, I absolutely believe that exists. I see it daily.
It is a real disorder.
I see it.
People that hate him cannot explain why they hate him. They just
know Orange Man is bad.
Brainwashing is a fact. It is a fact. And it's done so subtly. Don't think that our intelligence agencies don't run psyops on the people. And when you control the media to the level that they do, which they do, or else when we turn to NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, CNN, we would see different stories. We would see actual acts of journalism, right?
No.
We would see investigative journalists going out, finding their own stories and delivering different news on each station. But you don't see that. I don't care what station you watch. Here are the stories that you're going to see on this station, this station, this station. And a lot of the phrasing, even when they tell those stories, when they're delivering those stories, obviously come from the same script.
Right.
So I've always wondered, who the hell's writing the script?
Yeah. Well, I think there's an old video running around that shows every news network giving the same story with the same corny punchline joke. And it's every one of them. But everybody seems to think, oh, well, the news is, it's not like that. But they showed it from California all the way through.
Yeah, I think there was like over 100 boxes.
Yeah, every station said the same thing all the way to the corny jokes.
Yep.
How do you not see that you're being played like fools? Okay, look, you remember I seen a commercial for Chick-fil-A. And it has three guys walking down the street and it says, eat more chicken. Eat more chicken. And then it shows where the guys just walked from, and it's a cow sitting outside the barber shop. Mm-hmm. So the cow carved in the back of their heads, eat more chicken. And it made me think of They Live. With a sign said, obey, buy.
Obey, consume.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like,
what a completely allegorical movie that was.
Yeah, I love that movie.
It's so true in so many aspects. Like if you take a look at the fact that when he put the sunglasses on, he was able to see who everyone was,
right,
and what all the signs really said.
Right.
Really take that and put that into context, because it's the same way that I watch the news now, or I read the news when I'm reading opinion pieces. I'm not just looking at what they're saying. I'm looking at what they're not saying. And I'm also looking at how they're saying it. How does this person who's telling me this story right now, how does he want me to feel? I can tell that by the way he writes it. What emotion is he trying to elicit from me? What is he trying to get from me out of this story? How is he trying to manipulate me? And it's the same thing I said when I had Kyle Seraphin on last year. It was a year before. I said that essentially, watching the news or reading the newspaper is like trying to read tea leaves, because you're trying to see what the story is they're not telling you that's in between the one they're delivering. So you do that by you watch CNN, you watch Fox, you watch these different, and if you watch the same story and you watch it from every perspective, you'll get a much better idea of what really happened, because the left are going to tell whatever truth they can on the right, mixed up with their lies and bullshit. Right. And then the right is going to tell the whole truth on the left, plus whatever extra they can pile on there as well, to make sure that you have that extra hatred and vitriol toward the left. Somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Right.
Right. So that's the way that we need to look at these things and really start to gain some perspective on the fact that we're being manipulated every way we look, every story we're told, every news story that is delivered. How are they trying to manipulate you? Look for that. When you read the stories, when you hear them, look for, how are they trying to manipulate us? This thing tonight with Ilhan Omar that happened.
Right.
It's obvious. It is a manipulation tactic feel sorry for Ilhan Omar.
Absolutely
she's strong. She's such a victim. And, you know, just wake up, people.
It looked so horribly fake. I mean, did he come up and spray her with something? Absolutely. But number one, how did he get a syringe that damn big in there? Number two, how do you allow this drunk guy to sit in the front row? Number three, he was close enough to her. He could have poked her with the needle.
Correct.
That should have never
Took
happened.
approximately 4 or 5 steps to get there. I think he traversed
drunk steps.
I think he traversed a little over 10 feet from where he
Yeah.
was sitting to where she was standing.
Right.
And
he stumbled there.
Yeah, he stumbled there too. Yeah, I mean, he's
Right.
walking, he's wobbling,
Mhm.
looking obviously drunk. But like I said, I
Right.
believe wholeheartedly that when it all comes out, he will be a conservative. And but if you look at what he's posted, what he did, what his family
Right.
and friends will tell you later, is that he's not a conservative.
Right. Check
He's
his yard signs. More
He's
than
an
that, check his bank account.
Yeah, definitely an operative. Guys, yeah, I mean, I thank you for coming on with me tonight. I think it's time to call it, but
Yes,
great
sir.
time. I think it was a good conversation, and I think we covered a
thought
lot
so.
of ground. A lot of
Me
ground.
too.
So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I was a little over, like, I think you're about 500 in here right now watching. We appreciate you. I usually don't come on this time of night. We were just sitting around talking. So, you know what? Let's go live. You know, let's do this. So, thank you guys for watching, all close to 500 of you. And as usual, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground, because
Absolutely.
evil is never going to retreat willingly. It must be beaten back in every case. You guys have a great night. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
PPN, you're doing the right thing.
On the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
PPN on your bumper.
I'm Tom McDonald. This is the Patriot Prayers Network. Check it out. Lots of good TV, lots of cool people. Tune in, keep it locked.
Know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog. We don't give a what. 100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog. We think that you suck. My Patriots the craziest. They ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really wanna taste of this, no safety tip. The same mistake and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them. There's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem. Smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms. Fan with a handgun. Run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave to the grave. United States, we love the country that they've been corrupting. Go woke and go broker if you ain't obeyed. My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flag.